Yeah.
We are on the precipice of the AEW TV deal being announced this week. We had some dark rumors that I didn't necessarily want to talk about too in depth last week because it just like hadn't been confirmed by enough people what those rumors were. However, there's a lot of smoke to this fire at this point. There's Tony Khan saying there's a big announcement coming Wednesday. There's the upfronts coming Wednesday. Wade Keller wrote a column today. Joe Lanza has confirmed these rumors. Like amongst this is what people were talking about. Talking about it could be like $240 million a year for over 5 years. 1.1 billion, 1.2 billion. A lot of billion being tossed around right now. Big predictions. We had a Cope segment last week, James, that a lot of people on the YouTube clips enjoyed. Shouts out to everybody in the comments, the new subscribers on the YouTube page. Definitely appreciate you guys leaving the long comments and everything too. If this comes out, we may have to like open the Cope segment again because it's like, all right, how long did it, like AEW's been around for less than 5 years at this point. Yeah. And it's like WWE got their $1 billion thing for the first time in 2019, like with the whole new Fox and new MS.
Was it 19 or 18?
I think it was 8. It's one of them. Like
sorry, it was announced in 18. It got kicked into play in 19.
Right.
Sorry.
So they were in business for that long, and we know the TV rights deals are bigger now, obviously, than they were in the 90s and 2000s, things like that. But I'm like, maybe, I don't know. It's they were able to do those things after all these years in business, after having all this name recognition, all this essentially like, yeah, when you think of what wrestling is, oh, you mean WWE? Like that's what all the advantage, we know all the advantages WWE is operating from.
Yeah.
For AEW to come in under 4 years or 5 years and be like, yeah, we're going to get this $1 billion also. I think it says a lot of things. I think it speaks to the strength of AEW as a promotion and how successful it has been. There is a portion of it like, yes, WWE allowed, the like kicked in the door with like this $1 billion stuff, right? But this is not, their success does not rest on WWE makes this possible for them. I don't believe that at all because why did like when good things happen for WWE, we don't say it's good for wrestling. We say it's good for WWE.
Right. Because this isn't trickle down economics.
But when something's happening good with AEW, it's like, oh, it's great for wrestling. It's all this other stuff. It's like, no, man, say it with y'all chest. This is good for AEW. Like, I don't understand the hesitance. Actually, I do understand the hesitance. It's the new spin, whatever. And I was trying to figure out what it is between the Wembley stuff and this TV deal coming up, whatever it is, right? Because I think me and you have talked about it, and it's like, yeah, man, I think they're set for a pretty big raise, like no matter what, just because of like they were able to keep it competitive in the demos, like with Raw, and it's like, all right, one of three things gonna happen. Either like the most unlikely scenario is like, yeah, someone offers less to WWE for their stuff. That's the most unlikely scenario. Then it's like, all right, the other one is like, yeah, they offer a big raise to AEW somewhere and WWE stays the same. Or the third option is they both go up, and I think we're getting the third option. They both go up, and I think this is a phenomenal accomplishment with what Tony Khan and the whole company was able to pretty much do and overachieve. And it's like that, like all the grinding through the pandemic, the empty arena shows, the injuries to the roster, the being judged like no other company has ever been judged. These are all like doing all these things for over the years, like the loss of top stars, the gaining of stars, the backstage drama that's going on, and to come out on the other side and it's like, yep, the risk they took in the beginning, and people were like, yo, we want to do this shit a different way. This shit has led to is going to lead like possibly to $1 billion. So like there's going to be more money for everything. Everyone's going to get paid. And I don't know. Like what do you make of all this, James?
I mean, we were saying this back, after their first deal, or when they got the 140 million dollars, whatever else. And I always made the joke like that's the Kevin Durant contract they got because they're basically getting $40 million a year for TV. And I was like, hey man, like you look at this, and like they're going to get paid more the next time they get a deal, given how well they're done. And you look at what WWE's doing, like they're going to get paid well, or paid more over this. Like they're not going to stop at 40. And then there's another TV show. Yeah, I just seemed inevitable. How the $250 million a year thing or $240 million a year? I'm not sure on that, but like it was to me, it was obvious that like they were going to get paid a lot more than $40 million a year.
Yep.
And people have tossed at that $1 billion thing, and I don't know if that's in good faith or not, or they're just trying to raise people's anticipation so they can be like, it's only 600 million or whatever else. We'll see. Whatever it lands, it'll be more than what they were making. And like basically, regardless of whatever it's announced or whatever it is announced, like Tony Khan officially becomes like the second most successful promoter in the history of this business. And that's the part that interested me because like all these people that have the Bischoffs, the Conans, the Cornettes, the Disco Infernos,
gotta eat the crow.
Everybody else
got to line up.
They have said so much shit, and then at the end, like once this shit comes through, it's gonna be like, oh, y'all wrong. How are they gonna cope with this? What's the next spin after this? Because, WCW was a big deal. Smoky Mountain critically was a big deal. What happens when AEW like has surpassed them in everything? What left is there for them to complain about other than them just being old and no longer need to be listened to?
Like, damn, they ain't hiring me. Shit, like that's what it's gonna come down to. Because, like, bro, we were talking with some of our like non-wrestling friends about this, right? And some of our other wrestling friends too that had like broached this argument. It's like, all right, has AEW surpassed WCW at this point? And I think it's a fair question to have. I think you can be on either side of, right? If you're looking, depends on how you're looking at it. AEW is set to make money that WCW has never made. AEW is set to sell tickets like WCW has never sold tickets. However, obviously we know the TV ratings are stronger for WCW.
Right.
Do you want to point to the landscape of cable television and the difference? You can, right? I don't think anything's ever driven conversation like AEW. I wasn't on the internet that early in the 90s to see the way WCW would drive conversation. I was pretty much just watched the show, went to school, talked about it with my friends. Obviously, the NWO was like the biggest thing in the sport. WCW actually was number one at a point.
That's
right?
true. That's absolutely true. They were number one for a year and a half, basically.
AEW's like hasn't been that, but
one thing, Jason Solomon Monster, he has a segment on his weekly show where he talks about like going through the old message boards on the internet, talking about wrestling, and be like, look, this thing where you think like wrestling, like the wrestling talking sphere and online like has gotten toxic. No, it was always toxic and stupid even 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So like like your point, like it was ridiculous back then too.
Yeah, so like I think you like depending on how you want to look at it, like AEW like is the biggest non-WWE company like and most successful there's ever been. There's a certain way to look at it through those lenses. You want to say I'm crazy? Please refute me because I still acknowledge like what WCW was, and like I think it's however you want to look at it at this point. But however, the more this goes on, they are going to lose. Like Eric Bischoff, he's going to lose that claim to WCW being the second biggest thing outside of WWE and his whole claim to fame. Like he's holding on to that, right? And who knows how long he's got left, like the way this is going.
Yeah, yeah. But you are right about the it's good for wrestling thing, and I think a lot of that is from the people that are trying to play it neutral because they realize that anything they tweet, positive or negative about either one of them, gets people up in arms.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like, nah, man. Like, I get the general sentiment, but it's like if they're like if the big three gets a better TV deal than or gets a competitive TV deal to the NBA, no one's out here talking about it's a great day for basketball. People will look around and be like, what the fuck? Hold on, bruh. Like you, so you be like, damn, bro. So like Doc Rivers made the move to this because he couldn't get another job in the NBA, and he's gonna make the same amount of money. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Doc Rivers, look, do they have coaches in the Big Three?
I believe they do.
Well, Doc need to be one of them because that NBA shit, that 5-on-5 shit's done for. It's time for the sixes out here. Time for 6 on the court, not 10.
Yeah. We will see what the number says. So